required to clean up the fight all the way, which Stack is one of those places that if you decide to disengage, it's just...
Hello guys ragazzi, bentornati in questa nuova live. Oggi gioco con voi. Oggi gioco con voi e poi sono in arena.
Questi sono...
Allora, andiamo in live a vedere se ci scrivono appunto. Eccola. Subito il like. Bene, neanche non c'è più ragazzi, ora ve lo metto lo schermo. Cacchio sei? Oh, bello, bello. Bello l'albero. Cacchio avete
We've been over this, right? They will be on the southern side of the zone, a little bit more towards the central, in an area where the high ground isn't looking directly at. Every single time, we don't need to look at them towards now. I promise you. We'll tune in. Let's tune in about. We can say 20 seconds after third zone closes. Right, observers? We'll put that on the clock. Right, 20 seconds after third zone closes. I promise you that's what it is.
Picking one up in the feed. Wondering how his off spawn's going now, where they're actually getting surged. It should be very different because usually they're fighting a team or at least have people to shoot. It's not going to be the case with the duels. We're really not landing there, right? Hold on, we have a little bit of a time advance too. But in the first, a little bit of farming going down. But yeah, my focus, I really want to see what Mitro's up to right now. I want to see exactly if Aqua has his game plan locked down. Some of those top two teams who still have one game, this game, a chance to contest and close the gap. If Teak's team does fall, trying to build somewhat of a last chance comeback narrative. There's some other teams too who are in that situation. Six uncontested dirty talks. They kind of come from the same side. Teak on the top right, Flois, Hellfire and Scram, who look very aggressive and nice on the day. They get in trouble, and here it is. Steady Kemi Teak. Teak a little bit lower. I think someone's finally answered the call, Sundown. He kind of put the Teak signal in the air. Someone stop these guys, and this might be the chance to hold down first place.
A little bit undisciplined on this rotation. They got very split going out there. Teak was a little bit far ahead. I was about to say, this was the one situation where the zone being revealed here, I'm glad we popped over because we are pulling a little bit farther to the southwest for what's really been the first time in EU. Like, unless we get a really far north zone, this should be the farthest side we're going towards Sludgy Swamp. With that being the case, most of the teams who are rotating away from the north and rotating to the docks, if they are a little bit slower and a little bit more split on the rotation, this is where they could get jumped on. And the fortunate thing is you're never going to commit to a fight in this circumstance, right? The team who ends up coming out late doesn't have any more of an advantage other than just throwing a couple AR shots that way. So unless they're able to really effectively be like, all right, 1, 2, 3, we all shoot Teak, which we saw there for a second, they're not going to burn a launch pad to then jump right down on top of them. They're going to be like, oh yeah, we got 90 damage, sweet, that storm surge is great, and they're going to go next.
Will definitely be a little bit different. I'm wondering if we get that map shot up again too. One thing I do want to know, this is the yellow arrow to the right. Look at the way teams are actually set up in the map. Sometimes we're used to watching Steady Kemi and T go straight towards the center usually of the zone, maybe somewhat a little bit more south. There's basically a line of teams smack dab in the middle, left to right. We're going to be watching them rotate with that vehicle. They're not going to get as far as before, and there's a huge line of teams vertically as well, top down from the convergence, the Misty Meadows. I wish I could draw on this map. It's basically two security lines stopping this first place team from playing the usual game they do. And I don't see chonker tires on an IO car. I see a truck with what is it, Cammy riding on the backside. This is a much different game for that first place team.
Yeah, and largely, again, this is the first time we've seen a zone pulling this far to the southwest. We saw it during the pre-show, how we had that little almost pine tree posted up in the middle of the map, and we are keeping an eye in the bottom right-hand corner as well. There's our current second place team, just by 1 point ahead of Aqua after their performance in the last game, pulling out that Hellfire and Scram. So our top three, Tiki's in the top corner right now, second place Ornata there in the bottom right hand corner, and then Aqua and Frustroki. We've seen a lot of in the past two games. They've played great so far today.
Oh,
currently
l'abbiamo
not shown
fatto
on the screen,
insieme.
but the
Io
zone
e l'Asus
will
che
close
fianco
here.
a
This
me,
will be
non mi
the end
ricordo
of the
il nome.
first, and then where the second zone is actually going to dictate a lot, and potentially whether or not Sistema and you can see they are trying to get the Chonkers Tower onto at least some form of car that are going to end up fueling it up, knowing that the rotation is so key. Don't have the IO car, so a little bit of a less fortunate rotation, but adding the Chonkers is largely the bigger difference. As Ornata actually ends up, no, that was Hellfire taking a bunch of damage to the bottom right hand corner, and we're going even farther to the southwest. Shao, this is a tough rotation for them.
Definitely, the south is definitely the key for all these Misty teams. Kind of doing a bottom curve might be the best bet. And getting somewhere strong and then looking upwards north, getting any tags you can. The gaming team will follow the water for now. Still rotating in. The majority of these north teams will have a huge cluster to deal with as well. Cars riding, this might be the game that they just confirm the fact that they're going to be these European FNCS champions overall. 64 points on the day. If they get 40 more, they could break 400. It's insane. Flowis, Hellfire Scram, a little bit of a different situation. They are inside the zone. They're gonna control the way people move around a little bit, but man, the one thing that is kind of different with this pulling all the way towards the south and being slightly new, a lot of the trees have not been taken care of. The slipstreams active, no one's really farming them. They usually just skip them and go straight up to a spire like Aqua's team did, or use that fast movement to start dip around. Tus does take one of them out, but it's gonna be so hard to actually see anything from a high ground perspective like Aqua's down to a lower base because there's so many leaves in the way.
Yeah, utilizing those side streams to just dodge, dip, duck, dive, and dodge around all the shots, but not a whole lot of farming. And also, it's about a 50-50 shot when you do get towards these Weeping Wood zones. Somebody's picked up a bunch of Fireflies and just chucked them around, kind of going for the Scorched Earth policy, saying, hey, if you can't have it, neither can I. Right now, we do have a little bit of a tense situation here. Hellfire, Ornata, and Scram wall to wall. It's no Riley, Janus, and Medeal, who we saw no strangers to fighting well at any point in the games. Whether it's the end game, last game, or early on. And as I say that, Janus just wipes Scram with little to no return, and it's going to be tough now for Ornata to fight. Has that charge shotgun, but not able to get in a situation where he can use it. Boom, as I say that, does open a wall, gets a 115, but defensively really hard to fight with that weapon. And that was fast, Shio.
That's the operating word right there. Super speed even. All they did is just...
Ok ragazzi, unite in live che è strabello vedere la CCFN in
Meanwhile, other teams not gonna have the same luxury. They'll have to actually climb up to these bases and take fights one-on-one. Reason definitely has to. They were just below Surge before that elimination came in. Their first one of the game so far, really stretching the way they have to rotate as well, all the way over at Cracky Cliffs. They're barely just that pony, and they need to get down to Sludgy Swamp, so they've got still quite a journey to go. One team picked along the way. This is all going pretty well for them overall. They just need to up that base once again. Yeah, winning is huge, but getting yourself up to the highest placement possible at the end of the 2 days to really bump up the total prize money you end up walking out with. So that's exactly what's on the mind for Falcons. Duo rolling in here alongside Reason, and they're gonna really stretch out this fight. It's actually Mutual Milan and Arian who are on the other side from one way, and Axe Force is just hiding amongst these two God squads trying not to go down.
Well, they also only had 8 damage above Storm Surge. You saw on the right-hand side, still Reason around the corner. Now only 58 above, so they know they need to get in zone. They thought maybe they could have been safe with that 101, but they have to. They don't necessarily want to have to deal with rotating and Storm Surge. They want to pick one and then have to deal with the other. So get to the edge of zone where you can then about face, throw some rifle tags, some worst-case scenario, get wall to wall, but luckily for them, Torture Special does end up picking up a little bit, some rifle tags being thrown over there, and I think they might have actually been able to get on a knock. It looks like they're trying to fish for the finish. Don't see anything in the feed. Some good tags coming out there. Again, we talk about Storm Surge. That's the mechanic that punishes the most passive trios in the lobby. 25 damage every 5 seconds. It occurs at the 3rd, 5th, and 7th zone. It will turn off when we have 70 players. Then the 5th zone will turn off when we have 50 players. After the 7th zone, it will turn off when we have 30 players remaining. So just keeping an eye on that person actually going through. Right now, we're going to take a look at some of the trios who might potentially either being engaged or be underneath threat of Storm Surge. We've seen this fight a number of times where Cammy, Steady, and Teak just take a defensive fight against somebody who has to press forward. But it's AndelX and his trio who are on the opposite side of the wall. And what did I say? 3rd zone, south side, a little bit towards the central, Shio?
I'm just so confused as to how they passed every team in front of them. We were watching that map. They were behind everyone. This shouldn't be allowed. In terms of the way they're playing, yeah, 10 points in every single game. It's huge for this trio and Vetlays overall, but it's more than 10 for HEATSINK every game. We know that based on where they are overall. And they're going to stop MOTHERBOARD like squeeze on their walls. I mean, they're somehow facing up against a team that's low on surge every time, using that pressure to get free elims or a full refresh. Then they can make their super long base. I don't even know what to call it. We have to coin it some type of term, but they have that huge worm base, I guess.
It's the runway, man.
It's the runway. I like
it's
that.
the runway to the end game. It takes them off the end game. You either put a launch pad at the end or they just chill on it, and AleX is going to go down. But here, think about the reasoning behind it, right? If you're facing up in the middle of the zone in the low ground, right, and you're next to a team, there are two options. Either that team is above surge and they're not going to fight you wall to wall, right? They're going to do the exact same thing you're doing, where they're just going to about face and try and throw some shots through something on the backside, or that team is below surge and they have to push you. Either way, if you're the one who's there first and somebody opts in next to you, you're still not in a bad situation. Your worst situation is the team below surge gets on your wall and they're taking 25 damage every 5 seconds. They're more than good enough to just fight this defensively, as right now Axforce is one of the players being hit, so there could be a full another trio taking storm surge damage. He's hoping that 2 more players go down. He does have the medkit, gonna have to wait for the damage to come through because you have to be below 100 effective HP. We'll have the zone added on top of it. That is only a 2 tick for now, but I mean, it does all add up. Gets the medkit, is potentially thinking about a reboot, but with 70 players up left, if he does reboot, it's actually just going to turn Storm Surge right back on. 69 players left now, so not necessarily the best of situations to be in. So he's going to get whatever materials he can and rotate to
I still don't think it's possible. It's going to be a 5 tick after this lock-in, right? So getting the whole team all the way there with the medkits, there's just not enough time. He's at the pads, but they're replaying with gray pistols and just a little bit of wood, so it'll be trouble.
Hey man, so you're saying there's a chance? I mean, about as much of a chance as somebody upsetting Cammy City and TK at this point. We do have Jose Crow and Deoxy upsetting Cammy. Actually jumps down. He smells a little bit of blood in the water. He wants to get involved. He's going to gain a little bit of distance, but he needs to make sure he doesn't bite off more than he can chew. We are inside that top 24 trio, so 5 points has been given out, already 69 points on the day for our current leaders. We talked about it, how if we saw kind of that 70-ish point last game, they might have been safe, and now we start talking about how they go 100 points on this day in the first 3 games. I mean, that should be more than enough based on the statistics, but they've been playing so disciplined. Honestly, I wanted to see them try and roll out the most consistent batch of 12 games we've ever seen.
Even one slip up is not completely unheard of, but in this fashion, I'm not even talking about slips, it's just basically perfection in the way they're playing. It's huge. Now they're going to have a little bit of a tough zone to climb. Usually it's just, you know, running forward, staying on the edge of the circle overall. They have to kind of do a center cut here, and it's all vertical, so
launch pad away.
How did Axforce live?
You know,
never mind.
He didn't.
Hold on that one real quick.
Yeah, he sent right back to the lobby, got the little drone over his head. He said, you know what? It looks like you missed your teammates. Why don't you go talk with them? You got your 5 points. Congratulations. But his feet are no longer on the island in that regard. Unfortunately, eliminated away. But as we said, made the first round of placement points. We're going to tune back on in. You talk about them needing to make the rotation. They just burned a launch pad. They have no problem utilizing the resources they have. They said, hey, if you got it, and they have more than enough, being able to utilize so many resources, and now they're doing what they do best, just trying to farm, look for shots, looking towards the outside of the zone and getting an angle. So we're going to get a little bit of a look, see who's above them. We do have my prediction, who was a little slow on day 1, just a little bit slow overall, really looking to try and push towards the top 10 now. We see Jose going down. It's just going to be Crow up from that Spanish trio who started off so hot, but just like my tamales, going very cold now. You know, they're much worse when they're not fresh off the plate, and just having a tough time here, stuck in a winning zone, praying nobody knows them, but not going to get enough. When it gets to 50 and now turn on in the 50 zone, 30 seconds.
If the zone was a plane, it's just really hard. There's no easy at all. Making people move towards the center is one basketball will be the most goals on the scale on that road. So the challenge Another team. Led by Corsair. Now with a 2-extra box. Here is also picking up themselves. Other nice low ground team. Now so much more room now to get these operators. It's all not their plan to do. Officer Hart, fast forward, going to be doing with me. So now, that's a very different boss fight. It's not going to be, will they, might they, if they decide to go for the fight, they're not going to stop.
Yeah, I mean, you say that, but I'm pretty sure they just bought Reason real quick right there. So, I mean, doesn't look like they're necessarily too worried. 77 points on the day. I was talking about how they're actually a little bit behind Steady, Cammy, and T. But now with 5 eliminations, they bounce that number back a little bit. But again, they need lots of games, right? They need wins, and they need big wins. As we flip on over the low ground, see Steady, Cammy, T, raining shots out via GXR players, being able to put some shots in it. This is something they do incredibly well. They just have to pick up eliminations here, there, and there. Up to 3 on the day as right now, or 3 on this game.
Already have a ramp to kind of start off with. Already have that vertical momentum to go straight towards the top, and they find another one inside these boxes. It's not going to be their elim, but they might be able to get that refresh. All these still fine for getting down and Bombers get the maybe get their hands on that stock spot. You know, it's not going to be possible. Fully eliminated Siphon is going to be a little bit in front of them. Brick is there. I think he's going to pick up everything in front. This is where this is all go though. In just a second, are they in class? Somehow they are. I guess we're on the final page of this spin now. They get that free bounce over mountain though, so that's going to have to start doing those vertical parts. They're so brilliant to watch. The Cisco slowly buying from no low-key. I mean, a little bit of trouble. 80 points from the day is still so good though. Our class is going down, going around, picking up each show. A little bit of a revenge all the way towards the top side. They'll get that revive up very fast. And once again, we have 7 pulling zone. Aqua on height. This is another game for the season 8 fun.
But we're already into the cascading place of points. We talked about that Delta and needing the shift, despite the fact that they are offering to in a great position. Steady, Cammy, and Tinker still in a fine position.
C'è le skin di Natale italiano. Motocross con Aliento
Points to keep their eyes on the prize. Keep our eyes on the nice little wide shot. The rest of the lobby looks like you can see how high ground is waiting to lay Noah. Looking to try and go up and cut off a little bit deceptive. It's a solo twist to backside of the zone. Will pick up 1 before he goes down that 16th place. Picking up just 1 additional point for Kira. Steady. Beginning his rotation now with Aqua. Looking to cut him off. That's the late pass from the high ground. They're going to try and take it away. Building him off and we Steady and Tinker. They're just like, sounds good. See you guys.
Vai, 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 veloce.
Moving forward, no issues whatsoever. This is real candy every time as well. Just has such a huge amount of time, a long opportunity to get as many shots down as possible. Somehow actually ahead of the team now. They're actually getting plain low ground from multiple angles. Out of the trap maybe for a different team. They're going all the way down to worst ground. They're going down to the swamps, to the water. Going low, you can become so incognito. It's crazy. You can surprise people just like Jamie tried to right there. They have so much space. They don't have the stone. Everyone's running off the back. They haven't even made it past the bridge yet. This is insane.
I mean, the amount of waterfront property they have is criminal right now. Yes, they might have to worry about floods in a second, but I think they'll have more than enough money to be able to build a boat to keep everyone else picking up more eliminations in the feed. You can see that going down. The chop comes through and Janet instantly gets knocked past the ball damage, taking advantage of him. The front side of the zone. We do have the Irish trio playing a little bit of a start here. You can see they end up getting knocked down and separated for a second here. They're on 7 eliminations, so they're trying to push the pace a little bit as possible. Another one. Cammy also picks up another one. They're just yo-yoing it back and forth, but it doesn't matter if they keep making it endgame style. That's another top 10 for Cammy, Steady, and Zeke, and it doesn't look like they're slowing down as they have priority position again.
On the ground with 3 different teams. They all actually got advantage inside the boxes and a few bullets with defense. Against other teams, smoking the zone. Still that's popping off, and it's popping off. 92 points on day 2, just halfway through that 5
imagine being Aqua, right? And for Strokey and CR, and you're going, we're here. We're going to give them a run for money. We're going to make sure every single game we're competing with one of the best. But then you're going up against them every game. Like, no matter what you do, you can't beat them because they're the team that are with you in the final moments. Like, I'd be fuming if I was them. Like, great stuff. Honestly, I'm so impressed with that. Really, they are being so incredible. Coming through the second day of the semi-finals and being easily one of the best teams in the lobby. But it just shows how great Cammy, Seki, and Teak are. I can't even, sort of quantify how word
I'll catch you, because you know what's funny? I was thinking the exact same thing, right? I was thinking, like, you are in the moment, you're Aqua, you're Syria for Slipper, you're clutching up the solo 1v1 to finish off, and you're about to hit that shot, you hit it, you see the Victor Albert come up and you go, yeah! And then you wait, and you pause, and you see, wait a second, you just see it's like you eliminated Cammy, and you're like,
the analysis
final game before the final game kind of even starts. Child mustache, Balabuka, it's always a trade back.
Spaghetti mafia, you pick them, Frank?
He actually went on his pro soldier.
Tu me racontes, là.
Revelations happening on the other side of the map. Different map that you haven't even seen. What happened before still here on the back side of games now. They got to this fight. We're going to go either which way. We'll let us see them for a moment. That looks to be a little bit of tough work. This point, top-notch medical at these shots. Dice goes low. They both basically have no back. One point was up a shock, and then that's our boons. Savage. This one was too big to fry. Unfortunate. China had so much HP. He wins it out.
That was close. That was real close. He ended up getting the siphon going over. One more. I mean, the harpoon hits like a truck. You don't necessarily think about it, but unfortunately for Shizo, yeah, they were able to clean up the fight, but just those purple triangles come in. That's not the same team. So Bentinko going down, but he's going to try and disengage and get on the right hand and potentially just camp out on this chest. Now, if you hear the chest level, he was fortunately not in there. They're going to look for somebody else. But somebody's going to open this door eventually. You just don't not check a chest spawn, right? Unless you're super unfamiliar with a route, they should know there's something in here. So that's why he's sitting right on the right hand, just hoping he can try and get a quick advantage without leveraging to his swap. But it's going to down but not out something first. And the quick HP targets is going to be really difficult. We're going to swing on over to our heroic challengers, the ones who, again, not only do they need to win, they need to win big. And then eventually Cammy City and team have to play that at the time. They have to.
Dai, che vinca anche questa gara. Salto estremo di guida. Per velocità. Guardava il boost. Attenzione. Parte. Oh, 54 è andato.
Whether it's Fortnite, your career, whether you're playing in a sports team, it does not matter. The opportunity presents itself if you're not prepared to deal with it, then it doesn't matter that you got the opportunity.
Vediamo se ce l'ha dietro.
And the chance that opportunity is coming early.
Vai, quarto giro.
Teams really start climbing up. Everyone is at an accelerated pace here today. In last season, it was neck to neck for the last game up to 296 points. Every team right now at about 30 or 40 less points overall. By the halfway point of day two. Everyone's playing so well. So things are starting to accelerate.
Subito, attenzione.
Threshold at the end. You really have to activate now. Like you would towards the end of the competition.
Vediamo la World Cup nel mentre. Io prendo la scorciatoia, ciao! Vai!
Yeah, but again, we need to set the stage where the fact that because Steady came in team for 70 points up on Aqua and Aqua for 70 points up on everyone else. Like in any other circumstance, any other leaderboard, we'd be talking
turned out well. Nobody is able to hit those. And if you
Qua
look at
cos'è
the
che
rest
meno
of the leaderboard,
40
we're basically third to say like 15th, 16th or so. That's really up in the
Vai,
air.
qua
So you
faccio
have that
3-6
70-point drop from first to second.
proprio alla
You have that 70-point drop from second to third.
Ancora
And
si
then
può
there's a
fare il 3-6
70-point drop from like third to
perché
15th.
attenzione, parto qui, qui posso fare il 3-6.
Bookie has more elimination.
Velocità onesta qua, si può fare il 3-6. È vero? 10,
The reason he's probably matching up against something below the top 10 is because that's too over. He's talking about those moves, right? Every game is probably new trios who are fighting, but are also just there for that one game that's at the top 10. It's definitely very close to where it's not even the bottom of the board, but it's the top half. And all the way to the end, all that's a huge shift in prize money as well. From like 4 down to 9, it's almost $100,000 of a difference with these teams. Like, that is huge. It's going to be neck and neck the whole time. I already see pies and people side by side on tiebreakers as well. 1-point differentials, 5-point differentials. It's barely even, you know, one big prize or one trio wipe. It's huge improvements all the way down to the last moment for a lot of these games. The two score that you got, they're one of them. These two all the way over towards the very top.
180, fatto. Era quello che vogliamo.
Spanish strength is not stopped across the map. We'll flat back and fight. It's part of the situation too. Tide is there to boost that fight. It's like a four-way trio fight going on somewhere across the map. Yeah, it's all for all. What is going on?
You can see right now she's up to the front. Should be okay. There's plenty of structure trades happening on here, so not necessarily too worried about the players off in the zone. Malbuka also going to be able to get his own med kit off. Do just continue this rotation, trying to get out of what was a decently dragged out fight over in the corner of Steamy Stacks, but the reality of the situation is, as we talked about last game, where it seems
Che sono? Lo so, sta canzone copriti, lo so. Manca 150 cose dopo di me io posso. Il 3-6.
There, when it comes to out of ball,
Cosa? Lo so che l'ho già detta, ma mi stai molto simpatico. Magari domani puoi ricevere un regalo da 200 o da 800, anche da 500.
High ground bases and control out of the lobby, and through their lens we can also see the other teams. One has kind of gone under the radar that's been really active today.
Che secca.
The way they've been playing, right foot pins down in Jersey. Been really active when that end game starts, depending on the races, like half and half. Right foot's picked up so many. I think even from that first game that started on the day, that was like 4 overall. It's been tough for them to translate those touchdowns and it goes 50 wins into a win overall. They don't really get that many more eliminations once those wins come to them.
also playing for the same board. See, we do get the scrumptious running on the right hand side, but they've never had to worry about it.
Vai 3-6. Fatta la primera. Volevo fare il 3-6 poi 180 ma non si poteva. Va bene, tagli la strada. Ok, non c'è più musica. Ora sì.
Once that conflict stops, they kind of have to switch up their game plan. They're looking to be alive with the trio more, focusing on the end game a lot, kind of playing like Aqua 2 towards the mid with these big bases. They're not getting it to struggle as, you know, per usual.
Aqua has now won 2 FMCS finals in every single one he played. I guess he did take a little bit of a break.
3-6? No, ho fatto 3 gradi. Che neanche si
largely has been the 12
Vai.
winning 1/6 of the games we play in the finals every
Turbo
single
deve
time.
essere
Knowing that outside of eliminations, like this is no eliminations from winning, you're still guaranteeing your team 60 points in every final. That's an impressive thing.
No, il mio quota.
Corsair Hellfire have not had that guarantee, but have been very scrappy and aggressive with a lot of teams. That's what their
Eccolo che
storyline
cade.
has maybe succumbed to sometimes as well. That scrappiness sometimes elevates too far. You take one extra fight that maybe you don't need to, but they are some of the reasons a lot of these teams on the lobby are getting lobby focused. They're one of the ones to start that pressure first. Boxy as well. Next to Verox, both of the same situations from the first side of the map. They're going to go head to head, and Asus is actually going to take them out. That is huge. You can
Tu sei
continually see when it comes to entering this endgame. Only one trio will be able to survive this fight.
180.
And it looks like after
Sì,
Veras and Michael, they're going to be fine with that.
fatto un
Nothing comes into
240.
resources as possible. They're well above sponsored. They're also among the national high ground positions, so they want to invest in the extra match. They give them that elimination to just build out their race a little bit. They can make themselves kind of on that fair.
Raga, devo
Trios over
andare
there.
su Rocket League, cacchio, inizia il torneo. Vabbè, raga, io non lo faccio il torneo, vabbè. Non ce la faccio. Vai, muoviti, Rocket League. Dov'è Rocket? Vai.
They carry NT.
Ok, così non c'è più copyright. Non sono entrato su Rocket, vabbè. Se vuoi faccio... Sì, va bene, facciamo il torneo. Perché Alex sono baro, ma cos'è sto così? Non lo so nemmeno io, pro gamer 89 lo semplicemente. Ma quell'audio non è copyright, lo so. 2 canzoni di quelle, anche 3, erano copyright.